The past 5 years, I have been able to sit up in the press box or on the track to broadcast. It has been a long journey to the point of today where I say goodbye and thank you. It has been nothing short of amazing. I've gotten to call many memorable games, even up to the point where I was calling my own classmates' games. I want to thank everyone who tuned in on Friday nights in the fall and winter to listen to Scott's technical difficulties and myself mispronounce so many names I can't even keep track of the number. In all seriousness, thanks to all who listened to myself live out my dream. I want to thank all the opposition coaches who let Scott and I get their lineups and statistics before the game and give us some information on their team. I want to take time to thank Coach Cameron for letting Scott and I get some quick interviews with himself and some of his players nights before the games. I also want to thank him for letting me interview him after games 2 years ago during his first season here. I will never forget the interview after the Holland game. Moments after leading the Broncos to their first playoff game in a while. Thanks, Coach, for all the memories from the rowdy section to the booth. Next, I would like to thank Coach Lillibridge and Coach Sellen. I've only called basketball games for 4 years, but in those years, I've gotten to call some really memorable games. I would like to thank you, too, for always coming up at half or just catching up with Scott and I before the games, and sending some of your girls up to get quick interviews before they prepared for their games. Thanks to all the players and coaches over the past 4 years, and good luck in your future. Next, I would like to thank Coach Van Keppen. Thanks, Coach, for always coming up after games or during halftime to talk to Scott and I. Always making those interviews entertaining. Thanks for the 2 district championships you have coached teams to during the 4 years. Thank you, Coach, for all the memorable games, whether I was in the rowdy section or out calling the games. You always made games fun. Thank you for always supporting our rowdy section and always trying to grant every demand that they had. I know it was memorable for them and for me. Thank you for the amazing games these past 4 years. I also want to thank Steve and Scott for letting me have the opportunity. Special thanks to Steve for always picking out Scott with me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to stick with you guys for 5 years. There's something you can never say thank you for enough, and this is one of them. Scott, you have turned me from some kid that barely spoke 2 words during a broadcast to someone who has done play-by-play for 2 full football games and many girls' basketball games. You have taught me everything and have truly let me live out my dream. I could never thank you enough. Thank you for the past 5 years and for putting up with my tough schedule and dealing with my timeliness when it comes to being at games. Thank you for always putting up with my jokes about how technological savvy you are. I also quickly want to thank my parents for always getting me to the games on time. To the rest of my family who always tuned in to me instead of going to the games and watching. Thank you, Dad, Painterman, for supporting the show. And thank you to the rest of the sponsor as well. Go Broncos.